Once upon a time, in a cozy cottage at the end of the meadow, there lived a kind woman who longed for a child of her own. She had no family and her days were quiet and lonely. One afternoon, she visited a wise old witch who lived deep in the forest. Please, the woman said, I wish for a child to love. The witch smiled gently and handed her a single barley corn. Plant this in a flower pot, she said, and you shall have your wish. The woman hurried home and planted the barley corn in her finest pot. She watered it carefully and waited. Within days, a beautiful flower sprouted, a tulip with petals tightly closed like a bud. The woman leaned close and kissed the petals, and with a soft pop, the flower bloomed open. There, sitting in the center of the flower, was the tiniest, most beautiful girl the woman had ever seen. She was no bigger than a thumb, with golden hair and bright, curious eyes. I shall call you Thumbelina, the woman whispered, her heart overflowing with joy. Thumbelina lived happily with her mother. She slept in a polished walnut shell with a rose petal for a blanket. During the day, she would sail across a bowl of water in a tulip petal boat, rowing with two horsehair as oars. The woman would sing to her, and Thumbelina would sing back with a voice as sweet as a silver bell. But one night, while Thumbelina slept peacefully in her walnut shell, an old toad hopped through the open window. The toad saw the sleeping girl and thought, what a perfect wife for my son. The toad snatched up the walnut shell and carried Thumbelina away to the muddy stream where she lived. She placed Thumbelina on a lily pad far from shore and went to fetch her son. When Thumbelina woke and saw where she was, she wept bitterly. The water surrounded her on all sides and she couldn't swim. The little fish in the stream heard her crying and felt sorry for her. They ignored through the stem of the lily pad and it floated away down the stream, carrying Thumbelina far from the toads. As she drifted along, a beautiful white butterfly landed beside her. Thumbelina tied her ribbon around the butterfly and it pulled her lily pad even faster through the sparkling water. For a moment, she felt free and happy. But then, a large beetle swooped down, grabbed her around her tiny waist, and flew up into a tree. The beetle thought Thumbelina was charming and wanted to marry her. He invited all his beetle friends to meet her, but they wrinkled their noses. She only has 2 legs, said one. And no antenna at all, said another. She is far too ugly, they agreed. The beetle, embarrassed by his friend's opinion, decided Thumbelina wasn't beautiful after all. He flew her back down and left her on a daisy all alone. Summer passed, and then autumn. Thumbelina lived by herself in a forest, making a bed from grass and a blanket from leaves. She drank dewdrops and ate pollen from flowers. But when winter came, everything changed. The cold was unbearable, and each snowflake felt like a boulder to tiny Thumbelina. She wrapped herself in a dried leaf, but still she shivered. She wandered through the frozen forest, desperate for shelter. At last, she came to the door of a field mouse who lived in a cozy hole beneath the ground. Thumbelina knocked weakly. The field mouse opened the door and saw the poor shivering girl. "Oh, you poor dear, come in at once." The field mouse gave Thumbelina warm soup and a place by the fire. In exchange, Thumbelina kept the house tidy and told the mouse wonderful stories. They lived together quite contentedly through the winter. One day, the field mouse said, "My neighbor is coming to visit, Mr. Mole. He is very rich and wears a beautiful black velvet coat. If you could marry him, you will be well provided for." Thumbelina didn't want to marry the mole, but she said nothing. When Mr. Mole arrived, he was indeed very wealthy, but he lived underground and never saw the sun. He despised flowers and bird songs, the very thing Thumbelina loved most. Mr. Mole had dug a long tunnel connected his home to the field's mouse. "You may walk through it," he told them. "But there is a dead bird in the passage. Pay it no mind." As Thumbelina walked through the dark tunnel, she found the bird, a swallow, lying still and cold, while the mouse and mole walked ahead. Thumbelina knelt beside the bird. She laid her head against its chest and heard a faint heartbeat. "You are alive," she whispered. Each night after that, Thumbelina crept into the tunnel with water and seeds. She wove a blanket from dried glass and covered the swallow to keep him warm. Slowly, carefully, she nursed him back to health. When spring arrived, the swallow was strong again. "Thank you for saving my life," he said. "Come with me. Fly away to the warm lands where the sun always shines." But Thumbelina shook her head sadly. "I cannot leave the field mouse. She's been kind to me." The swallow flew away, and Thumbelina returned to the mouse home, where preparations for her wedding to Mr. Mole were already underway. On the morning of the wedding, Thumbelina stepped outside for one last look at the sun. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Suddenly, she heard a familiar sound. "Tweet, tweet!" The swallow swooped down from the sky. "Come with me now," he urged. "Don't marry the mole. Come to the land where flowers bloom forever." This time, Thumbelina didn't hesitate. She climbed onto the swallow's back and then soared into the sky, flying over forests, mountains, and seas. They flew until they reached a warm land where the sun shone golden and flowers of every color bloomed in abundance. The swallow set Thumbelina down on the petal of the most beautiful white flower. And there, sitting in the center of the flower, was a tiny prince no bigger than Thumbelina herself. He had delicate wings like gossamer and wore a golden crown. "You are the most beautiful maiden I've ever seen," the prince said, kneeling before her. "Will you be my queen?" Thumbelina's heart filled with joy. "Yes," she said, smiling. The flower fairies celebrated with music and dancing. They gave Thumbelina her own pairs of shimmering wings and a crown of pearls. She married the prince in a ceremony surrounded by roses and lilies, and they lived together in perfect happiness. And the swallow, who had saved her and whom she had saved in return, sang the most beautiful song at their wedding, a song of kindness, courage, and the magic that happens when one follows their heart. And so, Thumbelina, once lonely and lost, found her true home at last.